Hi there, Guru Ed here, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can play retro games with your Raspberry Pi with a thing called Recalbox. Now, I've had a request to do this from people watching this channel. The general question was, how do I set up RetroPie on my Raspberry Pi? However, I've tested both ways of doing this, both systems, and I find RetroPie, it's good. It's just a little harder to configure out of the box, so to streamline this, make it a bit easier and simpler, and also so it takes you less time, I'm going to use my personal favourite tool for this, Recalbox, which I find just easier to use. It comes with Kodi built in, lots of cool features, and I've not ever had a problem with it, and I just find it very good for playing games on. So, Recalbox. First thing you need to do is you need to get your SD card ready. Now, if you've just got a fresh SD card, micro SD card of at least 16 gig, that's fine. Just go ahead and plop it in. Remember, a good SD card to have is, as I recommended in my last video, it's a Samsung 32 gig Evo Plus. So, sorry, we want this one, the red one, not the orange one. This is just really well performing. I'll post a link to some benchmarks, but this is just one of the best cards you can get for your Pi for the price. You can go a bit crazy with USB drives and other craziness, but this is best bang for your buck in terms of performance. It's only about 10 quid. So you need your SD card. So once you and sort that out, if you followed my last video, you might have a card that's already formatted with Raspbian, or you might just have a card that's already got something on it anyway. Now, if you have Raspbian, if you remember from my last video, there's a bit Windows can see and a bit Linux can see. That's not going to do us any good because we want a fresh card. So I've got the card from last video on here. You can see it's only 63 meg. Actually, it's should be a lot more space on there, so I'm just going to need to refresh the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tool called SD Formatter version 4. You can get this from the SD Corporation, so if you look for SD Formatter on Google, you can find it here. You know it's the right place because it's from the SD card organization. Also, always check for HTTPS on any websites you're looking for. You're downloading software, just to be safe, and you can download it from here and install it. I already have it running, so all you do is choose your drive. Here it's E, make sure it's the right one. Here it is, and just click Format. Blah, blah, blah. Quick format's fine. Yeah, do not with drive, blah, fine. Cool. There we go. Awesome. And you can see now it's saying I have 8 gig free. That's more like it. Cool. So my drive is now ready. So the next step is we need to actually get the thing to install. Now, Recalbox is really user-friendly. One of the reasons I love it. And it's so easy to set up. All you do is you don't need a special flashing tool. We don't need Etcher. We don't need anything. All we get is a zip file, which we download from the Recalbox project's GitHub account. Again, you can see here we're downloading software, HTTPS, all good. And once we've downloaded the zip, all we have to do is extract it onto our SD card. That's it. That's all you have to do. All the files are laid out for you, everything's laid out for you, and it will do all the corrections and setup for you when it boots. This is a really, really useful feature. RetroPie, there are quite a few more steps than this. So while that downloads, that's going to be a minute, I'm just going to point out some of the bits and bobs you're going to need. So, SD card setup. Another thing I'd recommend heavily is a Raspberry Pi 3. So you can set up Recalbox on almost any Raspberry Pi. Problem is, if the power of your Pi dictates what games you can play. So if you want to be able to play N64 games, you really need a Pi 3, and even then, not all of them will run. Mario 64, Donkey Kong, a few others are going to run quite well, but quite a lot won't. Star Fox, etc. And on a Pi 2, no chance really, unless you severely overclock. On a Pi 1, no. I would say a Pi 2 is probably fine for doing PlayStation games and below, and a Raspberry Pi Zero, anything sort of pre-3D era, so Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, all good. However, for Zero, I wouldn't recommend because you need a lot of other adapters to get it working. I know the Pi 3 is a little more expensive, but it's just easier. Another thing you might want is SD card reader. So I mentioned in my last video, but make sure you probably need one of these to stick your SD card in your PC. Again, I recommend the Pi Hut. They're really good. You're going to need a good power supply. So if you don't already have a good power supply, get the official one, official Raspberry Pi power supply, the 2.5 amp one. If you're using a Pi 3, it does use a little more juice. Better safe than sorry. You may not need this exact amount, but it's always best to stick to the official tutorials. And what you're also going to need is one of these. So one of the things I like to do is I like to play wirelessly on my Retro Pi setup in front of my TV, and the best way to do that is with Bluetooth. Now, the Pi 3 does come with a Wi-Fi / Bluetooth chip on board, and Recalbox will use that for the Wi-Fi, but there are some compatibility issues. I'm not entirely sure of the details. I think it's something to do with the Broadcom driver. Either way, the Bluetooth doesn't work perfectly. So this is a slightly higher cost if you want to go wireless with your controllers, but it's so worth it. You don't really want a wire trailing around the living room. It's not the 90s anymore. So I'd heavily recommend this one, the Asus USB BT400. It's the one I use, as you'll see in the latter part of this video. And I've had absolutely no trouble with it. And it's only about 10, 12 quid. And another thing you'll probably want is controllers. So what I use is Sony PS3 controllers because they're Bluetooth and they're fully supported by most Linux distributions, including Recalbox. There are other options. You can get a variety of different pads, but I've just had the best luck with these. They have a good sized battery. They have all the features. They have all the buttons. They have analog sticks. They'll work with every game you can think of. They're good. Now, obviously, they're quite pricey if you're trying to find them just brand new. So I'd recommend finding some ones off eBay or like you have here, so 12 quid, not too bad. Or you can go into Game and see if they've got any in stock, some second-hand ones. Obviously, be careful with second-hand stuff. If there's a lot of wear on the analog sticks or the buttons, or strange sounds when you press them, don't buy that one. There's different wear and tear on the pads. And you should be good. So, and one last thing you need if you're going wireless is you do actually need this cable. So, if we highlight that, you can see that is a USB mini cable. So, what's a mini cable, you might say? So, most of you will probably have a micro cable, which is a thinner connector for your phones and such, or maybe USB-C if you're living on the cutting edge. But a slightly older standard is USB mini, which is what happened before the micro standard came in, and you'll see it on probably not printers, but you'll see it on old cameras, modern cameras even, and PS3 pads. So you want to be able to charge your PS3 pad. It does come with a rechargeable battery, but if you want to be able to plug it in and use it, because you need to charge the battery from the first place, you will need at least one of these cables. Again, Amazon are a good place for this because 5 quid. That's awesome. That's a perfectly good price for that. Cool. So, anything else? Oh, and obviously you'll need an HDMI cable. You probably have one of those lying around, but just in case you don't, again, Amazon, 4 quid. That's a good price. So now our Recalbox has finished downloading. We just need to unzip it. So I'm just gonna do it, show you the easy way. I mean, you can unzip it straight to the SD card, but hopefully it'll be a bit easier if I just show you it step by step. So I'm gonna extract all of these files. There we go. Just a folder in that same place. Blah 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 blah. And then all I'm going to do, as it finishes, is oh look, all the goodness. I'm just going to cut these files and stick them on my card. There we go. So that is going to take a little while. Not too long, about a minute. That's fine. Just to go over what else Recalbox can do for you. So I did mention before it can do Kodi. Now Kodi is a media center. So just to show you what Kodi is. Basically, it's a great way to watch your media. It's a great way to watch TV. I have the iPlayer set up on it. You've probably heard a lot about it if you go across small board computer forums, or if you've ever heard of OMX player, so or things like that. So it's just a great way. It's just a great way to play your media. So if you have local movies, if you have MP3s, something on a file share somewhere, it's a really good way to watch your shows. So just to show you another version of this on the Raspberry Pi, it was originally called RSBMC, but it became OSMC, that's the one I meant. So basically this project originally started support of Kodi for the Raspberry Pi. They moved to a variety of different platforms, but basically normally to get Kodi on a Pi you have to, your entire SD card has to be OSMC, or you need a dual boot option, or you need to swap cards around, or something nuts. OSMC is very, very good, but I like to use Recalbox because I get Kodi as well as all my retro games. So it's just really nice to have both on one card. Saves with switching around, makes my life a lot easier. And I will be showing you how it all works in the next part of the video. So I believe our SD card, yep, has finished writing. So you can see it's all there. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this downstairs, plug it into my Pi 3, and show you how it all works. See you in a bit. So I've now hooked up the Pi with the SD card, the HDMI cable, the PlayStation 3 pad, which is plugged in with will be plugged in with the special USB cable I mentioned, USB mini, not micro. And I also have an official Raspberry Pi case. I would heavily recommend these. They're really good, really cheap. They are modular. Get them from all good stockists, Piramoni, Pi Hut, Amazon, and so on. I would also recommend a little tiny heatsink for your Pi 3. You don't technically need this, it's just a nice to have. The Pi 3s can get a little warm, but again, most of the time you're not going to need to worry about that. Another thing you can do is just leave the top off if you're worried about it getting hot, and then there's no problem. Right, so we'll just power it on and we should see what's going on. Now, one thing I have done is I've let it, when you first boot, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to just set everything up for you. It also starts with some music on the UI, which I have switched off because that wouldn't help much for a video. There's some, 90s music going on, and I'll show you how to do it in the menu in a minute. So we just power it on, like so. I can fit it in. Get it the right way up, that would help. There we go, all in, cool. So we'll start up, and we know it's working because on the bottom left we should see, in the middle we'll see the Recalbox logo, but in the bottom left in a minute we will see the build number, which tells what version of Recalbox is running. I am using a slower card for testing purposes. If you're using the Samsung card, this will be a lot faster, hence I recommend the Samsung card. There we go. Oh, it's already gone through that bit. There we go, and we're on the menu. So I've already sunk the controller, but I'll show you how to do it again. So all you do to sync the controller is you just plug the pad in. That's it. It's brilliant. RetroPie is a little more involved for this, and Recalbox is by far the easiest I've ever seen to do this. It's amazing. It's like it's Xbox 360 quality and easy. So I just plug it in, wait about 10 seconds, and then take the pad out, and I'll be done. So you can see the lights flashing, so you know it's getting power. Again, if you want to charge the pad, just leave it plugged in after you've sunk it, and it will be fine. It will just slowly slurp power, leave it overnight, and in the morning your battery should be nice and charged. So that's been about 10 seconds or so. Boop. There we go, and we're good. So let's see now. Oh, I need to switch it on. Sorry, to switch the pad on, just press the PlayStation button in the middle. There we go, you'll see the lights pop up. Then, here we go. You can see we are now connected. This is brilliant. This is all we need to get going. So to change that option, just press the start button, the sound option, go down to sound settings, press X, and just switch front end music off. I heavily recommend that because it just gets a bit annoying if you leave it on. There we go. Cool. So I'm not going to mention I'm going to show you how you put ROMs on here. I don't have any ROMs because obviously how you get them is up to you. There's plenty of legal places to get them. Obviously I'd recommend that. What you've got is up to you. Maybe you've got cartridges, maybe you've got backups, I don't know. That's outside of scope of this video. But once I'll show you in the next part how we put the ROMs on. But there are some ones you get for free. So if we just press X to get out of this, so it should be, nope, sorry, O, which is the button there. These are just the defaults in the menu. You can change those and just choose, I don't know, Super Nintendo with, comes with a weird version of Donkey Kong. But just to show you that it does in fact work. There we go. I don't actually know what this game is. It's just one of the free ROMs you get that I assume has no licenses on it. Cool. And you can see it's all working fine and making noises and things. I'm not sure what version of Donkey Kong this is, but you can see there's no problems with performance, there's no lag, no audio weirdness, and it all just looks fine. I've not had any trouble with the majority of Super Nintendo titles. Obviously, I'm not sure if Super FX
titles are going to work very well on this. So I wouldn't try like Star Fox or anything. Now to get out of this, to leave a running game, just press the PlayStation button and start at the same time. Okay, that's all you have to do just to get back into the menu. So it's really, really easy to get into your games and out of your games. Remember, to go forward is the X button, to go back is the O button, so like A and B on a Xbox 360 pad. Cool, so I did mention this had Kodi. So again, we press start to go into the main menu. And all you've got to do here is you can see this bit that says Kodi Media Center. I wonder what that does. Press X, because that's the confirmation button. And here we go. This will boot up into Kodi for you. Now again, what you have to watch digitally is up to you. What file shares you have set up, what NAS media you have set up, that's completely in your realm. A cool thing we do get with Kodi is if your TV supports CEC and you have a quality HDMI cable, because some of them don't have it, you can send commands to your TV through HDMI from your remote. So you can see I've got my TV remote, I can control the menus with my remote, which is really, really useful. And that's all done automatically for you. Again, that's really useful to have. Recalbox is very good at just setting stuff up for you out of the box. And you see I haven't even had to touch command line or open a console or anything like that. So obviously this is a fresh install, so I have no videos or anything like that, but if I did, I could load something up off a media stick, plug a USB stick in, look for it and just play it from here. You can also get iPlayer and things like that. Little outscope this video if people are interested. Drop me some comments and I will show you how you set up iPlayer on Kodi. It's relatively easy. Cool. If you want to go back, all you have to do is go down, here we go, onto the power button. So you should be able to go there. Oh, just to point out, by the way, PlayStation 3 pad is still connected. So if you don't have CEC or anything like that, you can just use your PlayStation 3 pad. The only thing you need is the PS3 pad. It's just nice that you can use the TV remote and just sit on your sofa and not worry about using a pad, just a bit more homely. So once you've got highlighted the power button, just enter. So that can be enter on your remote or X on the PlayStation 3 pad. Brings up a menu. So you've got several options here. You have exit. That will take you back down to I'll take you to Recalbox and your emulators. Power off system, custom shutdown timer, just lets you choose what time you want to shut down, or reboot, which just restarts the system, pretty obvious. I'm going to power off the system now, because I've shown you all the features, and we'll move on to the next part of this video. So, there you go, down and power off.
Now we have our Raspberry Pi set up and ready to play some retro games, how do we get the ROMs on there? First things first, you will need some ROMs. That's outside the scope of this video. You will have to source them yourself from legal places. But then you will need to find the IP of your Raspberry Pi. I recommend a tool on Windows called it's called Advanced IP Scanner, but you can get it from www.advanced-ip-scanner.com. And I recommend you only get it from there because it's best to get tools like this from the source. Other places do let you download these programs, but you don't know quite what you're getting. So once you've downloaded that, then you just need to run it. So if we put that on mine, there we go. Once you've run it, just put in your your IP range. So this will depend on your modem and your personal setup. A good default is usually 192.168.1.1, so all the IP addresses will be the first three numbers and then some variation on the last one. So I think my Pi is the second 2, and we'll see. So when we run the scan by clicking the big scan button here, couldn't be easier. You'll see, there we go. So you can see my Recalbox is 192.168.1.2, and my Chromecasts are other addresses, my Xbox, and other things on my network for all different addresses. Cool. That's what we need to do. So we know it's 192.168.1.2. Brilliant. So all we need to do to access the file share is to do / / 192.168.1.2. Cool, and we see a file share folder. Awesome. Windows may prompt you for a login here. If it does, just put any old username and password in. It's just Windows being Windows. There's no authentication on Recalbox itself for this. It's an open file share. And all you need to do then is move your ROMs into, see this conveniently named ROMs folder. So if you want to add in Super Nintendo games, stick your ROMs Super Nintendo folder. N64 games, stick them in the N64 folder. PlayStation games, you can guess it, go in the PSX folder. That's it. That's all you need to do. Now, there are some more advanced configurations for certain emulator setups. Again, that's beyond the scope of this video. If people would like help with that, just let me know. Add some comments. I'll go into more detail on a particular emulator if people want that. And that's pretty much all you need to do. And it's really, really useful. Recalbox, again, just goes the extra mile to make your life a bit easier. So all we need to do is show you one more thing, and that is inside this system folder here, there is a config. So this is the Recalbox primary config file. Open that, edit that, all the details on the Recalbox website I showed you earlier. It's really, really useful for changing things like if you want to change your Wi-Fi configuration, if you want to change certain settings on the Recalbox, enable SSH, things like that. You can do it all for this config file. It's pretty much the go-to, like that config file I showed you first in the how to install Raspbian video. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you like this video. I hope it helps you play some retro games. I hope people comment back, say, yep, this really helped, or if it didn't, why it didn't. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. And if you want another video on any particular thing Raspberry Pi based, you know, if you want to find more out about Recalbox, or you want to find out more about, I don't know, other items about the Pi, things to add on boards, bits like that, let me know, and I'll start, you know, planning my next video. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. So thank you very much.